Right, I've tweaked my design, like I've changed my design. My first design, the wheels were too big, too close to each other. I didn't particularly like the aesthetic, the look of it. Look, too chunky, really. So what I've done is I've recreated the design and I've just slimmed the body down, changed the angle here a little bit to make it look more sporty. The wheels are further apart, so I've used a slightly longer rectangle, changed the proportion of the rectangle so it's shorter and longer. So all those things is just design development, really. Okay, still my 2D drawing, right? We can see the length, we can see the height, but we cannot see how deep that drawing goes into the paper. So let's have a look at doing some 3D drawing now. I don't know if I can bring this up closer to the camera, whether you can see this paper. This paper is called isometric paper. I-S-O-M-E-T-R-I-C paper, isometric. And it's for drawing in 3D right now. So look at this paper, right? If you go and follow the lines on the paper, the lines either run diagonally on the page at 30 degrees to horizontal, right, 30 degrees, or the lines go vertically up on the page like this, right, vertically up. Now there's not many lines on that page, well, there's nothing drawn on that page that's horizontal. Okay, so this is my grid that I'm going to use to draw my 3D drawing out. Now, working from my design here, look, I'll leave that at the top there. I've got to get an idea for the length and the height of this shape. Right, so if I divide that, so if that line swings around to there, I'm going to say that this cube, that's 2 squares there. Look, can you see that? 1 square, 2 squares. So the proportions of this is 2 to 1, the ratio of the sides, right? 2 to 1. So if it's twice as long as it is high, this box here needs to be twice as long as it is high. Each one of these little squares is 5 millimeters. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 60, 50, 60, 70, 80. So that's 80 or 8 centimeters long. And then that means it's going to have to be 40 high. 10, 20, 30, 40 high. Right, so if I draw that shape, that now, that parallelogram, we call that, is the side of that car. Now concentrate on this, right? What name did we give lines which were next to each other and traveling in the same direction and never meeting? Remember? Parallel. Okay, so parallel lines, I've got diagonal parallel lines and I've got vertical parallel lines by here. Those two are parallel as well. Okay, all good. Now we're going to design the width of the body of the car now. So this is the information I haven't got on this drawing. I don't know how deep that drawing goes into the page, so I can just choose what I want here. So I'm going to go 10, 20, 30 millimeters across there. 10, 20, 30 millimeters across there. I'm going to join those two lines up like that. That's the top of my car. And then I'm going to go down there and across there. So I'm just following that grid. I hope you can see that. That looks like a 3D cuboid. Okay, my front of my car, like if you look here, from there to there, it's about halfway up the cube. So that's going to be by here. And my back part there is about halfway along. So that's going to go by there. I'm going to draw a diagonal line like that and a diagonal line like that. So that's the front sloping bit of my car. And this back bit here is going to slice off from about 15 millimeters there, so a square and a half down like that, and across that one, and then across that as well. Okay, so let's go over the lines we want to keep and make them into outlines. So 1, 2, I'm just going to go right the way around the outside of the shape basically to start off with. Look, I'm just doing it in a light scribbly way, but hopefully make you realize those are the lines that we want. And I guess what I can do then as well now is I can just add a little bit of rough shading on this bit here. That's the block body side of my car. I hope that makes sense and that you can see that shape that I've created. Right, this is called isometric, right? So what I've done, I've gone from 2D to 3D. Often really useful. In the next video I'll show you how you can draw the wheels. That's getting quite tricky now, right? Have a go at drawing your design that you've done in 2D in 3D. Alright, now listen, if you're lucky enough to have the paper, so ask your teacher if they can give you some isometric paper. Great. If not, you might be forced to draw isometric freehand, which is totally possible. All right, just a bit more tricky. You're just going to have to try and draw your lines at 30 degrees and make sure everything stays, parallel, okay? Get used to drawing your parallel lines, make sure your lines stay parallel, and you can do your isometric as sketch isometric. It's Going to take a little bit more practice, but you'll be able to draw your drawings without the gridded paper eventually, right? So that's a good technique to try and learn as well. So sketch isometric, not on the gridded paper. Right, one last thing before I go. Isometric paper, right? I've printed out 2 different kinds off the internet here, right? I just typed in 3 printable isometric paper. Look, if I bring it up closer to the camera, hopefully you can see this. The grid on this one, the lines are vertical and 90 degrees, and 30 degrees. On this one, vertical and 30 degrees. When I bring them down, look, one's landscape and one's portrait. So when I went on the site, I could choose which one I wanted, which is pretty useful, really. All right, so have a go. If you've got a printer with ink in at home, you can print out your own 3D paper, isometric paper. If not, like I say, ask your teacher or try and do some sketch isometric. Have a go.